What is going on, guys? J-Hoy back with you today. I am bringing you episode number 20 of the Be a GM series. And Chris, welcome to the 20th episode. How are you doing today?
Pretty good, boss. Excited for this brand new season. Didn't make too many off-season changes, so I'll have to see if we can compare to last year's stats.
Starting off against Philly, and I know we are having some questions about some of our lines, but going towards January in the middle of the season, who are you looking for to definitely stand out this season?
Well, we looked at our teams compared to the rest of the teams in the league, and we saw that our biggest shortcoming was like goaltending. I mean, we had a 6-1 win, so that's really good for Robin Leonard. Hunter Shinkaruk finally showing up with 2 goals. But it comes down to Robin Leonard, I think. You know, has had some good years, but our overall as a goaltender isn't there like the rest of our team is. So if Leonard can stand on his head and win us a lot of games, then we should be fine.
Definitely agree with that. But starting off 3-1, pretty good start. Hoffman with 4 goals in 4 games. Kind of great to see there. Adds another 2 against Toronto. So Hoffman and Zibanejad playing on the first line along with Bobby Ryan, I believe. And Hoffman leading our way in plus minus as well. But looking towards our team, we have those depth guys in Turris, and we have Shinkaruk, like we said, who started off with 2 goals, I believe, in the first game. And who else are we looking for there? Because we also have Silverberg. But is there anybody in the third or fourth lines that you're really looking for?
You know, I think Alex Killorn is playing on the 4th line. Typically a 3rd liner like he is. Well, he's a 1st liner in Tampa Bay in real life. But, you know, overall in this game, probably a 3rd liner. But he's playing him on the 4th line. You know, look for, you know, a solid 30 points out of him as, you know, maybe an overachiever there on the 4th line.
Yeah, like you said, we have pretty much really good depth in Ottawa that we've built so far. And Shinkaruk and Hoffman are battling back and forth with 7 goals each, I believe. I'm not really sure about that one. But like we said, I think in a couple of videos ago, Shinkaruk, we were kind of having some questions about him. Him being, at the time, it was a 90 or 91 overall, that he was kind of struggling. He didn't really do anything in the playoffs, and he didn't really put up a 90 overall type numbers. But this season, he's starting out pretty hot with 8 goals. I'm guessing somewhere around either 10 assists or around 5 assists. So he's probably doing pretty well for himself, playing on the second line with Turris and Silverberg. But one question we were going to ask is, if we traded Shinkaruk, just say, what could we get back in order to make this team better? Now, Chris, I'll ask you that same question, but in the addition of why.
Well, Josh, I think for Shinkaruk, I think you could probably get an 87 overall goalie as well as somebody to fill the roster spot. You'd probably have to move Palat up to the 2nd line. But then if you got a guy who could play the 3rd line or 4th line with not a lot of trade value, it could get that, you know, elite starting goaltender as opposed to just a starting goaltender, which I would say would be the only upgrade. But it seems to be that Robin Leonard is doing fantastic so far. 12 out of our 14 wins, you know, so I don't even know if we need to make a goalie upgrade at this point.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. With Robin Leonard playing good, I know I always say it, but in this game and the game before, the overall doesn't seem to matter too much. As long as they're playing well and definitely putting up points for our team, then it doesn't really matter what the overall is, because playing at like an 81 overall, you usually don't expect them to do well, but sometimes they'll shock you. It's not really often, but sometimes it does shock you. But going back to the Shinkaruk situation, we don't have to trade him. We don't really want to trade him because of his overall and his great numbers so far this year. But if we have to, then that obviously have to look at that as an opportunity for someone else to fill that gap. But Bobby Ryan stepping up in his own right, playing on the first line, but definitely want to keep Shinkaruk around, even though he's making I think it's $4 million. But either way, we want him to perform. But Chris, 16-5, getting a couple of really good goal games. What do you think of the season so far?
It looks pretty good, man. You know, we're 4 or 5 years into the GM series, so it's good to see that we are on the right track, where we keep succeeding. You know, we just looked at the stats before we started the video, and we've gotten better every single year, and that's the important part. Whether you start out at 70 points or 170 points, which I don't even know if that's possible, you know, as long as you keep improving, that's what it's all about, in the GM series. So I think it's awesome to see that we're getting better every single year, and it looks like we're on pace for an even better year than last year with 58-20 and like 4 record, I believe.
Something like that, yeah. But like we checked before the video, the stats. First year, we didn't really make I didn't really make too many moves because at the time Chris wasn't here yet. But when I first started the series, I didn't really make too many moves. I didn't really make too many changes. But then that first or second off season, I definitely tried to get the best players I could to bring into Ottawa to definitely make it better. Then about 10 episodes later, I brought Chris into it for, I believe it was the second off season or the second playoffs or something like that, when we went against Detroit for the second time and lost in the first round. So 2 years in a row we lost in the first round. Went to the third season. We made a couple more moves, try to move some pieces around that didn't really do anything, or got rid of bad contracts or whatever the case was, and lost again in the first round. But going into the fourth season, we made a ton more moves, and it didn't seem to work out. We lost in the first round yet again. But that fourth season, we had, I think it was 40 or 58 or 54 or something like that wins, and it was the best season we've had so far. And then we get into the playoffs and we lose in the first round yet again. But looking at our record right now, I think we were kind of in the same situation as we were last year, but then kind of dropped off a little bit and didn't stay as hot, but still ended up dropping 54 wins. Do you see that happening again?
Well, I mean, like I said, we're definitely on pace for at least that kind of season, probably even better, especially if Bobby Ryan keeps up this 38 points in 32 games thing. I think he's a superstar, and it's great to see that he's doing well. I think we could get that record, but 58 wins is huge in the NHL. I don't know if we'll be able to quite replicate it, but I expect somewhere between 50 and 60 wins out of this team this year.
Definitely agree with Ryan staying hot. Shinkarik, I don't know, I haven't seen his name in a while in the goal column, but hopefully he's still performing. Hopefully maybe like 1 or 2 goals under Ryan. Zibanejad's right up there in his own right. So apparently we just have a completely scoring first line, which is great to see because we never really had a completely scoring first line. I mean, they put up some good points, but not enough to stay in the first line and earn that first line role, even though we have like depth scoring all throughout our team, including our defense too. I don't think I've really seen much from them either as far as on top of the board. But let's go one more game, simulate to January 1st as we go against Buffalo. Hopefully we win here. They just got Jack Eichel in real life. Good to see there. But let's go check the stats real quick, and then we'll see see if we need to make any changes. But going in the NHL stats, I kind of probably going to see the first line role or the first line players and Robin Leonard definitely sitting on top of them as these take forever to load. So Cody Ceci still performing. Well, let's start out with our centers. Zibanejad and Turris definitely earning that top 2 role. I'd like to see a few more points from Turris, but either way, pretty good. All these 3 doing exactly what they're supposed to. Peugeot maybe a little under of what he's supposed to do, but either way, they're all performing quite well. Hoffman and Shinkarik definitely still performing. The goals are there, the points are there. I'm happy with that. Pull out maybe a few more out of him, but either way, that's still good. Playing the third line, Palmieri playing the fourth line, right wing, still putting up good points. Ooh, I don't know if you saw this right away, but either way, Bobby Ryan, 43 points, definitely no problem there. But these two, Silfverberg and Stone. So I'm not sure if it's just Stone's role this year or whatever, but he seems to not be putting up like any points. And Jakob Silfverberg playing the second line with Shinkarik. I understand if you wouldn't be getting too many points, but either way, 9 points is just way too low. And you're shaking your head over here. What are you thinking?
I'm telling you that Silverberg's playing on the third line with Palat and Peugeot, and Stone is on the second line with Shinkaruk and Turris. I'm pretty darn sure.
All right, we'll check after that, but let's go to the defense and check it out. So it's Ceci and Carlson, and I guess you want to throw Yandel in that. Definitely our top 3, but looking at our bottom 3, Schutz playing on our third line with Jacob Trouba. Kind of disappointing to see that. Maybe we'll switch him and Clefbaum. Not really sure yet. But Trouba and Clefbaum seem to be on the bottom of that. But either way, go to goalies. Okay, so Herringer's kind of struggling this year. Don't really want to see that. But I don't know if we have anything in the minors we can really bring up and swap for Herringer. But obviously, Robin Leonard, the key story of our goaltenders. And what is it, 21-9-1. Performing very well. And obviously, we didn't turn on shootouts. It's just continuous overtime. Either way, well, let's go check some line changes and then see if we need to make any line changes or what we think. And it is Silverberg on playing on the second line with Shinkarik. So do you want to make the switch like you thought it was?
You know, I'd almost like to put Palat on the second line and have just 3 righties on the third line, or maybe even switch Killorn and Pajot. I mean, it's not very favorable for growing of the young guys, but you know, we got to do what's best for the team, and I think some line changes could and should be in order, going by the current stats we have.
Okay, I definitely agree with line changes need to be made, but I'm not sure exactly which way I want to position this in order to work. So let's just switch that. That way it gives a double playmaker on that line. Maybe gets Silverberg some more points down here. But as for moving Killorn up there, not really too favorable for me, but gives us a triple righty there as well. But either way, I think hopefully we'll try that out. If it doesn't work, then we'll go back. But here's another thing. I think I'm going to move Schutz up for Clefbaum. Clefbaum doesn't seem to be performing, even with a guy like Cody Ceci leading our defense in points. So hopefully these two now can help us out in that own right. Then do you want to make that roster move for Herringer and for D here?
I mean, I'd almost rather leave Herringer there and have Dia keep growing in the AHL, because if I'm not mistaken, I think he has a 4.5-star potential of gold, and he does. So I'd almost like to see him just stay in the AHL, keep grinding this year, and then, you know, bring him up next year, whatever we have to do. But I do agree with taking Driedger out and putting Moody in down there.
Okay, but that leaves the question also. Do we want to sign a backup goalie for Herringer in the situation? Or we could trade Herringer, because nine games played, 21 goals allowed. That's a lot. The record isn't there at all, and we need that backup goalie to help Leonard not being able to... What's the word I want to use? I don't want him to have the complete workload, but I do want to have a backup goalie that's something decent to where they get some playing time and give some Leonard some breaks. So here's the question. Would you rather trade Herringer, sign a different guy to bring in and just swap him and Herringer, or would you rather trade Herringer for a backup goalie?
Man, I don't know. I really have no idea. I would like to think that Herringer has a good amount of trade value as far as what we would get in return, so we could definitely look into a trade. I don't want to push it too much, because he does have 4.5-star potential. He still is only 22 years old. But you know, we could explore a trade. I mean, like I just said, anything for the betterment of the team, you got to do it, and especially when you're trying to win like we are right now. So I don't know, man. What do you think we should trade him, or what do you think?
I mean, usually I would in an offline be a GM mode. I know I have a couple going on right now. We kind of have a couple that were being in off recording and having for fun on the side and whatnot. But in this situation, obviously recording for YouTube and doing all this fun stuff, I definitely think we need to better our team. So if it is trading Herringer or signing a guy, I think we definitely need to do it. But only being 2-4, I kind of want to give him a little bit more of a chance, maybe a month or two, maybe trade him at the deadline. Could be another spot. Even if we have to take on a little bit of salary for 1 year and then do whatever. I mean, we don't really have a lot of salary cap for this year, but we definitely need to improve our team improving for the playoffs anyway. But I think we'll do that in the next video. Maybe we'll look in the off recording or in between videos. Or if you guys tell us in the comments, I know it's going to be going up from tomorrow. I know we're actually recording a day before. But either way, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. We're sitting at 23-13-1, so we're pretty good. I'd even check out where we are in the standings. So we're second in the Atlantic. We're basically top 3 in the league, 2 points behind Montreal, which isn't too much of a challenge. But either way, anything else you guys say, Chris?
Nah, I think that's it for this video, man. Just obviously stay tuned to see how we finish out the season.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Looking for a trade possibly, but you'll have to find out in next video or next video I make. But either way, guys, leave a like if you're enjoying this series, because it's kind of not wrapping up. We're kind of about halfway through from what I probably want to go with this series, because I know too long can get too boring. But either way, leave a comment to let me know anything you think about this series or feedback. It's always appreciated. I do read every comment, and subscribe for more. Anyway, guys, I'll see you later.